First item on the agenda is a moment of silence. Is there anyone or anything you would like to bring up? I'm not seeing any hands. If we could just take a moment of silence. Okay, thank you very much. Council, Susan had sent out the minutes. I didn't see any responses or corrections or edits. Can I get a motion to approve?
Yep, I move that we approve the minutes from the town council meeting of March 18th, 2026.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
So we have a Girl Scout troop tonight. Beth Roberts, do you want to introduce yourself and the girls that I see on camera?
Yeah. So Beth Roberts here. I'm here with both Faye and Sarah from our troop, who are going to introduce a project that we did in front of town council to advance the bronze award that the team had and the troop had achieved. And so I want to go ahead and send it over to Miss Faye Engel, who will kick it off and then hand it over to Sarah.
Good evening, members of Town Council. My name is Faye Engel, and I am joined by my fellow troop member, Sarah, and are representing Girl Scout Junior Troop 34174. Our troop has 12 members, and we are all in 4th grade. We are here tonight to share a project that we recently completed in front of Town Hall, a story walk featuring the book Rosie Revere, Engineer. This project is part of our Bronze Award, which is the highest award a junior Girl Scout can earn. It takes us to find a new way to make a positive, lasting impact on our community, and we chose to create the story walk because we want to encourage families to get outside and enjoy reading together. And now I'll turn it over to Sarah, who will let you know more about why we choose this book and how we hope people will take away from it.
Thank you. We selected Rosie Revere Engineer because it's a story about creativity, perseverance, and not being afraid to fail. Rosie learns that even when something doesn't work the first time, trying again is how we grow. This message felt really important to us, not just for kids, but for everyone. The story walk will be up for 2 weeks from April 12th through April 26th. We will take care of it while it is installed, and we will take it down when it's finished. We hope that families walking by Town Hall will stop, read, and feel inspired to keep trying new things just like Rosie. We also want to say thank you to the Town Council for allowing us to use this space and for supporting youth projects in our community. We hope that with the success of this story walk, we will be able to install at other places in the community, including at Kensington Parkwood Elementary School for their Literacy Week. Thank you for your support and for helping make Kensington such a great place to live.
Well, thank you very much. That was a great speech that both you and Faye gave. Thank you so much. So I saw you guys putting it together, I guess, last weekend. You all looked really doing your job and working hard to to make sure all the pages are in the right order. Was that tough?
Yeah. Well, it was kind of easy because we had it
They were numbered. So.
They were numbered?
Yeah,
Okay.
they were numbered.
Good. All right. Well, it looks fabulous. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to get myself a little stool on wheels so I can go around and look at it. And read. I don't bend down like I used to. So no, that is wonderful. And you expect to do some more at Parkwood Elementary School, is that right?
Yeah.
Good.
Kensington Parkwood.
Okay, excellent. All right, Council, do you have any questions for our ladies?
I have one. As you think to Literacy Week, are we doing Rosie the Riveter at KP, or do you have another book? And are you able to share it if it's a different book? Or is it top secret?
I don't think we're doing another book. I think we're just doing Rosie Revere.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're doing Rosie Revere Engineer.
Excellent. Okay. Did you get this idea yourself, or have you seen the noise library walks that you took and you thought you were kind of inspired by that, or how did you come up?
I don't know. Miss Beth kind of came up with the idea.
Yeah.
It was a joint effort among the troop.
Good. Well, I know everybody will enjoy it, and we'll try to get the word out too about the story walk on an upcoming e-blast. So
Yes. Thank you so much again for allowing us to use your space. We really appreciate it.
you're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
You're welcome to
Bye.
stay at the meeting if you want. We can go kind of late though. Okay. All right. Well, let's move down to the next item on the agenda, which is me. The 250th anniversary. We had put money in the budget to do something for the country's 250th celebration of the Declaration of Independence. I've spoken to a few people. Obviously, the 4th of July is a very busy time for most families. We get a big turnout at our 4th of July bike parade, and wasn't sure how we could expand that more, or if people had the time, or usually people are there and then they need to disappear to go to family events or they're going out of town. So I was talking to some people, some town residents, and we talked about maybe, do you remember in the parades, there was a Declaration of Independence where people had it around their necks and they were walking in the parade with, and basically of the entire Declaration of Independence. Does anybody, I don't see any heads shaking except Nate's.
Yeah, I remember it.
And it was kind of moving.
It's good. It's clever. Mm-hmm.
So we were thinking of doing something, the same thing with the Declaration of Independence, only putting them on banners and putting them on Connecticut Avenue, not above, but along the side, and using the three churches just out of town because they have the great real estate, take it into Warner, and then over by the Bakers Union where we have larger that have, excerpts of the Declaration of Independence. You can't be very long. It's not as an exciting document as far as wording than the Constitution, but it's not the Constitution's 250th. So we're just kind of thinking out loud, and I didn't want to move this forward without getting some input from the council. There are a lot of quotes from people that talked about the Declaration of Independence, particularly presidents on the 4th of July and what it meant. So there are plenty of things out there to use, but just want to get some feedback on the direction. We don't have to make a decision today, but I want to get people thinking about it.
I mean, I like the idea of doing something visible that is tied to the Declaration of Independence. I can see the appeal of Connecticut Avenue because of the high volume of traffic moving through there. The downside is because traffic is moving through quickly and people are in cars, they're not really interacting with the text. And so I wondered if that is one of the goals, then about the possibility of doing something closer to walking scale in some of our town parks on display.
There's certainly that, the boards that we've used before when during the Black Lives Matter, we did some quotes on those. So we could certainly do that. You're giving us too much credit for always having slow traffic, Anne.
No, I am not saying.
Always slow.
No, I think when you're in your car, you're moving through, you're not going to absorb
Absolutely.
much of the text.
Yeah, but that's why it has to be short. So, so, I mean, that's kind of the input we're looking for, but you just end up having it scattered all over the town, which maybe is a good thing. So I know the ones that the Juneteenth do, it's hard to read those from the car. Now they're good for walking, but they're not as good from the car. So.
I like the idea of banners, Mayor. And I'm wondering, to Ann's point, like if we build it or we put it in town where like close to businesses, can we make it sweet enough that it becomes like a bit of a destination, like socialize it for folks that bring traffic to town. Folks might be like, oh, I can get a coffee, or I can go to, our brand new bakery, or something like that. It might be an opportunity to drive traffic into town if that's something that the town's super excited about, but might support some of the local businesses while they're there.
Yeah, it's a little tougher on private property because you'd have to get, in our right of way. It's a little easier. I think with the churches, I think that would be, Temple Emmanuel, Warner, Kensington Baptist, and Christ Episcopal. are all right there on Connecticut Avenue. So I think they would be helpful in getting that word out. So we can come back with a better plan in the May meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the idea, but and one of the things about I mean, related to what Anne was saying with wanting to maybe engage people if they're driving, they might kind of go by it really quickly and not be able to engage it with it. It also, if it's a lot of words and they're having to kind of like focus, it may be a little bit of a risk. But maybe there's a subset of the text or areas that we could just have emboldened that are really kind of the more powerful messages. Because I Googled it right now again, and it's long. Like it is a very
You
long
could put
document.
the whole thing in it. I mean, that's for sure. And they're just they're lines that people aren't familiar with, so they're not sure that would actually come. They would recognize it as part of the Declaration of Independence.
Right. Yeah. So if there were like more catchy one-liners, I think that, or two lines, I think that could be really nice. And I know you and I talked about engaging the faith community a little bit more too last weekend when we were together.
Right.
And I definitely support that too.
Yeah, I kind of view this as an opportunity to engage with the churches outside of the town. There's certainly very important parts of our community. So, but we can look at yard signs as well and maybe do both. You could do the longer ones on a yard sign and put those out. Definitely, around St. Paul Park on the 4th of July would be a good idea. And then encourage people, to take one home and put them in their yards rather than, leave them scattered about the park. But we have time. It's only April. So
yeah, and I'm not unfortunately going to be here at St. Paul Park that day, but it might also be nice to incorporate a reading of the Declaration of Independence in that event and get some kids involved.
Okay, that's a good idea. Okay, anything else?
Just for the 250th, something along Howard Avenue in the Central Historic Business District. If we have the ability, if we have enough poles to hang flags from, it could also be neat to do the history of the American flag, because there technically have been 27 different versions of the American flag as it went from the original 13 colonies to the 50 states. Now, are all 27 versions available for print by a flag maker? I do not know that. This is a creative idea that doesn't necessarily have a market solution yet. But, the history of the U.S. flag as the country changed from the adoption of the Declaration until I think the most recent flag has been since, what was the last day, like 1960.
You could print them on boards and attach them to the walls down Howard Avenue. That might be an option.
Yeah, or in the window, it's similar to how we've done some of the story walks. It tells, how the country changed from 1776 till kind of modern era, and the story of the flag that goes with it.
Okay, I like that. It's a good idea. Okay. Any other thoughts? Okay. All right. Well, thank you. We'll come back in May with some more solid information then. But if you think of anything, just pass them on to me. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, moving on. Storm drain project. I think we've heard a lot about it tonight.
Mayor, do you want to do mayor and council
Oh, yeah.
updates?
Sorry, guys. Let's start with Stuart. You look lost in thought.
Oh, I'm furiously typing my notes here to not show up empty-handed. Couple updates for me. I don't want to steal. No, and we can kind of. I don't see Ann anymore. There you are. Okay, sorry. You're like I'm finding you on my screen. We could talk. You want to talk through the parking study kickoff? Is that we could talk that together?
Yeah, why don't you start? Yeah.
Okay, I'll start. Yeah, so for everybody's awareness, we awarded the contract to Walker Consultants for a parking study for the town. It's a pretty sizable contract, and we're very excited to get that thing underway. We had a kickoff meeting with Walker last, what was it, last Friday already? Last Friday, it was in the map room. It went really well. I think they seemed very motivated. They came prepared, and they seemed like business as usual. Like they were, the proposal was obviously written by subject matter experts, and I think they showed up as subject matter experts, which was really, really refreshing. They have a number of things that they want town support from. So I think we have some things that we're talking about here to put together to get it off the ground. But they're looking to get started pretty quickly here. So my impressions were really positive, and I think we can expect a pretty good work product coming out of there. And I can pause, and if you want to put in more detail, else I can keep going. I defer to you on how you want to go.
Oh, just I'll add a couple of things, Stuart, for the full council and the public's awareness. Part of the engagement will include stakeholder engagement and community engagement. So we worked with them in the kickoff meeting to define stakeholder groups to meet with. The first will be the parking task force, and Connor and I are going back and forth with them on dates now. The second, within the other stakeholder groups that we identified, would be business community, perhaps congregations and schools. We also talked about mobility and traffic committee. I have my list here. It's not right in front of me. A few different stakeholder groups like that where you could have 1 hour meetings, but then there will also be 2 community-wide meetings, which will work with them to structure one more in the beginning of the analysis phase, and then one towards the end when some recommendations and ideas are being put forth. But in between that, they will also be doing their inventory, their analysis, and coming up with recommendations.
Yeah, so as far as timeline goes, as Ann mentioned, we are for the stakeholder meetings, we're starting to try to put together some of those dates now. We're kind of going back and forth with Walker to try to pin down the first one. And we will socialize those dates with the appropriate stakeholders once we kind of get them up to speed. But it's really looking like end of this month, early May, somewhere along there, subject to everybody's schedules. And then on the community side, we're looking at sometime June-ish for the first community meeting, which is great, and that will allow them to kind of just get as much information as they can from folks who are intimately familiar with their space, and then really set them on a path for success. So the study areas are really going to be the areas that we highlighted in the RFI. They will walk the entire town, which I was actually surprised to hear. That's part of their methodology. They actually walk through and will be very detailed in their approach, which was great. We did flag for them some particular areas of note that we'd like them to focus on. One of the items was potential solutions for paid parking options in the town, and try to figure out whether and how the town can leverage or at least provide some strategic recommendations to the town for thought on how we can implement some paid parking solutions. And then how we deal with some overflow from key business areas, particularly Beta Cat area. So, because as Joe mentioned when we were there, there is this tension that kind of is always there between the businesses and the residents, like allowing enough parking for the businesses while simultaneously ensuring that residents of the town are appropriately managed. So, all in all, I think it was a really super positive meeting, and looking forward to continuing making progress with them here into the rest of the calendar year. Any questions from the? Go ahead.
Are they looking at just our current infrastructure, or are they kind of thinking outside the box? Well, if you did this, are they giving suggestions for opportunities to expand?
That's a great question. I asked that question. I said, hey, if you see a particular areas on your walk, you said, hey, that would be a great opportunity for parking or additions or improvements. Would you recommend that? And they said, yes, they would. So I think it's going to be it's going to be both current state and a little bit of perspective from them. So hopefully they hold true to that, and we'll make sure we kind of steer that too. So if the council has any other suggestions or areas that they think would be important to flag for the consultants, please let us know, and Ann and I will make sure that gets passed on to them.
Okay, great.
I do want to note that they emphasized both in their proposal and in our kickoff meeting when we were discussing this question that their experience is that often there is far more parking inventory than municipalities or communities realize. It's just that it's not optimized with wayfinding, parking management. And so that's always their first preference, is to see if you can better leverage and manage what you have before adding additional parking.
Yeah,
And
Sanford Daly, our PS town manager, did do a quasi study. It wasn't what we're doing today, but it was one. And you know, when you saw it, you're like, oh, well, wow, we do have a lot of parking. But now that was before, you know, Baby Cat and, you know, these other businesses. But, you know, it is amazing what they find that we just don't see. Or people don't, we know where to go, but the people that come visit. So.
and then Stuart and Ann, I know it was in the RFP and the proposals, but as they do their walking tour, presume part of that will be an inventory of our current signage and restrictions, and then recommendations, both for the durations, those places closer to commercial areas or closer to the MARC train during MARC hours, but also how those restrictions would dovetail with our current or revamped residential parking permit. I'm thinking similar to how Washington, D.C. does it, where if residents have a parking permit on their vehicle, they would be exempt from the limits in certain areas. I'm thinking of Kensington Parkway, again, near the Johnson Shopping Center, where we want to promote turnover of short-term on-street spots, or eventually when the M&T lot is finalized, you know, promote longer term stays to be in those lots. But we also need to work with how does that operate for the residents whose homes are along Kensington Parkway.
Yeah, that is within scope. Is when we talk about parking management, that would be a part of it and a consideration.
Yeah, and expressly mentioned signage. That was one of the those words came out of her mouth. So they're dialed into that, and I think I took your note here too, Connor. We'll make sure we keep them aware of that too.
Were you guys able to also flag the issue about the bicycling parking infrastructure? Okay, good.
Yeah, when Stuart mentions at the beginning when he talked about the information that they've requested, there was a long list of materials, and one of the things we made sure is on there is the BIPA and all of the planning related to that, and the work that's been done by PBAS, as well as basic information from the sector plan, the DRB, and we can set that up as a stakeholder conversation. That was part of the thinking around reflecting mobility and traffic committee, but part of that is PBAS and those improvements as well.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thanks for your work, guys.
Absolutely. Any other questions from the council on that? Okay. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I don't see anybody in the audience, so go ahead.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, shifting gears. Also had a mobility traffic committee meeting on. Shoot, I'm a little blank on the date. What was it? 24 March. A couple things that came out of that. Meaning we gave a readout to the traffic committee of our meeting with SHA, and you know, I think there's obviously significant concern by some residents of the intersection of Summit and Knowles. It's a continued hotspot. Folks were definitely recounting incidents where there was near misses with pedestrians, and you know, they asked particularly like what's happening at the intersection, what's happening with the crosswalks. So we provided some information based on that, but I think there's definitely appetite for further discussions with SHA, MCDOT, to keep folks at the table. I know we're due to kind of reach out to them to schedule our next quarterly meeting. I think it's on me to get that teed up. So I'll probably be reaching out to the council for a solicitation of agenda items beyond those that we've already kind of captured and trying to get an update on. So that was part of it. I did reach out to Matt after that meeting with some particular questions that came out of that our traffic committee meeting. And one of them was, what's the latest and greatest on the ADA compliance at the intersection of Knowles and Summit for that traffic light? What's the plan for that? And Matt, I'm just kind of read some of the text here, but there's currently a $20,000 bond on that developer, and that the town has requested those funds from SHA to make the necessary improvements. So we haven't heard back from them on that, which is unfortunate. So I think I don't know, Matt, if that's something that I can ask you to carry the water on, kind of ping them again, or if that's something you need myself and Councilmember Engel to engage on. Happy to do that, but I just want to keep that front and center if that's possible. And then,
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, cool. And then the second question I asked Matt was about the big peanut, as everybody knows. The current readout for everybody's awareness, Big Peanut is the intersection of, I'm going to butcher this, I'm sorry, I'm terrible with street names, but I'm
Pliers Mill and Concord.
Thank you. I'm a very visual person. Pliers Mill, Concord, and Connecticut Avenue, right there by the
Metropolitan.
Thank you. By the B-Dubs and the Dunkin' Donuts there. Currently, latest was SHA was evaluating that intersection, and Councilmember Engel flagged, at that meeting, like there's just so much that's being considered that intersection. We want to make sure that those projects are considered holistically. So I think that's something else we need to kind of keep on front and center. So I know that Matt also mentioned that there was a review potentially of that intersection with Brutus and Associates, and that was actually passed on to SHA. So bottom line, I think we still have more work with SHA there to do, and we're going to keep that front and center. And then just for his awareness, I told the traffic committee that I'm going to be studying the sidewalk infrastructure in town, and that's a goal to kind of bring some data to making sidewalk decisions and sidewalk improvement decisions, so that we understand. I know there's a lot of literature out there already. There's a lot of work that's been done in that space, and we just went through the SIP, and there's some sidewalk projects considered there. I think sidewalks are, especially in town, are an easy way for the town to improve pedestrian safety and ADA accessibility. I think we would be serving the constituents well by keeping sidewalks in our planning for 27. So I'm gonna do that and bring that to the town through the committee, get the committee's buy-in, and I'll bring that back to the town here in the next couple meetings. So just a heads up on that. That's what we talked about. Nate, anything else you would? Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
A way of kind of coding when you do the sidewalks that, this is a small project, this is a bigger project, just so, because a lot of times, as Matt mentioned earlier, if it's something small, they can do it while they're in that area, bring it to their attention. Matt has a whole list of things, and, it's like, while we're there, let's get this one. It's only 40 feet away. And so
and I should have mentioned, Matt did share that with me. Thank you for sharing that, Matt. Really appreciate it. That's definitely going to go into the analysis. And to your point, Mayor, like absolutely. I think what I'm trying to accomplish is basically triage projects in like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Like tier 1 is like what's simple, what's going to cause no controversy among the residents. Tier 3 being like, holy smokes, alert everybody and their mother that this is something that Councilmember Sparker is trying to tee up. So I think that's we're trying to take it should be a data-driven decision-making process there.
Great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not in the committee, but hearing Stuart's description made me remember, I think sidewalk audits have been done before. So I don't know if there's like methodology or you want to refresh an existing inventory, but I'm sure there were some lessons learned.
Yeah, Alan
Indeed.
Simon did a pretty detailed spreadsheet. So you certainly could start with that and update it as you go along.
Yep, absolutely.
And
Nate, go ahead. Anything else?
Stuart I was just going to say Stuart and Alan have been working together on the biannual bikeability audit. I think that's what you're referring to. We do that and we code the streets and so on, but I think sidewalks are one aspect of that. So having this concerted effort focused diligently on sidewalks, I think will help. And I know that Matt, when you replied to Stuart, you had said that with the I forget the name now of the, it's not Precision NZ. What is it Precision?
Precision concrete. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Precision Concrete. They do all of the tripping hazards around town. So they take an inventory, but I don't think they have an eye towards where can you put new sidewalk or where can we improve upon building out the sidewalk network. So I think that this is a great effort that Councilmember Sparker is going to lead. The only thing, I think, Stuart, you're asking me if there was anything else from the meeting. The only thing that I had agreed that we would follow up on is, Matt, I know we talked about this maybe a couple months ago, but we did get asked about what is the status of the Mark Station overpass study. Do you have an update on that? And just for everyone's benefit, we've gotten a grant from the Maryland Highway Administration to do, actually from the federal government via the Maryland Highway Administration, to do a study on doing a pedestrian overpass at the Mark Station to have an actual formalized crossing there that's safer and actually legal. So I don't know. You said that they were hiring the consultant, and it'd be great for an update if you could provide it, please.
So we've been in communication with them a few times since January. They are waiting to do a kickoff meeting. The last communications that Alex and I had with them was that they were going to reach out to us with a date. We're waiting to hear back from them. Everything's been approved. Just a reminder to the council, we did approve a resolution last year where we would put $15,000 towards this project. It is allocated in our current fiscal year. I'm hoping that they get this started soon so we can send them the funds. But as soon as we hear something, Nate, Stewart, we will let you know.
Matt, is it going to carry if we don't spend it before the end of the year?
We have contingency funds and other professional services that we can pull it from.
You can't carry over the budget, that line item?
I didn't put it in the line item for FY27 because I was hoping to give them the money. We'll handle it. Hopefully we can get this started by June 30th. So
okay. It's like July 4th. We got plenty of time. Anything else, Stuart?
No, Mayor. Thank you so much.
Anybody in the audience have any questions for Councilmember Sparker? Okay, Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I really like the sidewalk initiative. Just a little question here for clarification. Is the council member thinking of more of them or better strategically placed sidewalks? And I know this is the early part of the initiative, but there's more than a few streets in town that lack sidewalks, which means that pedestrians and others, have to walk in the streets, dodge vehicular traffic. And I think the installation of new sidewalks would be a very important safety issue. And some of them have been put on hold. The one on Frederick Avenue that was mentioned during the budget presentation. I would like to see some prioritization of these projects rather than sort of scattered. But I think this is a great idea and very commendable.
Yeah,
thanks.
Our deal not enough right of way. So that is something that, especially in the neighborhoods, the one between the apartment building and Lake is not a right of way issue; it's a topography issue, but it can be complete.
Well, how to your knowledge offhand, Mayor, how extensive is this right of way problem or impediment? I guess
it's pretty big if you go down Farragut on the north side.
How about on the south side, Frederick Avenue, for example?
On Farragut or Fawcett?
Frederick Avenue.
Frederick Avenue.
Yeah, on the south side of town.
Is there enough right of way on either side?
I'm not sure. I mean, perhaps in spots there would be, but
well, sometimes when you don't want to take somebody on a sidewalk and then just dead end them. A lot of times,
of course not.
Retaining walls too, so that's a problem on the north side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think thanks for the question, Joe. I appreciate it. I think I appreciate the support, incidentally. I think the answer to your question is yes. I think it's a mixture of both where identifying where we lack sidewalks, and and then from there, the analysis continues into which projects are going to require significant negotiation with property lines or boundary lines, or are we going to impact right away? Issues I know on Wheatley Street, for example, at Metropolitan, there's a bunch of businesses there that park there that use that space for their business. I certainly understand that they need that space for operations. So those are areas that I'm kind of mindful of, but I think I see it the same way you see it, which is it's a pedestrian safety issue. Regularly having mothers pushing kids in strollers, or especially down Oberon Street and Kensington Parkway, there's folks in the Spirit Club. We've got special needs folks trying to get from their business out to St. Paul Park to do exercise, and they're walking in the street with folks with cars. So those are things I think what we're trying to kind of address. And it's, in my opinion, that if it doesn't involve SHA and MCDOT, it's a little bit of an easier lift, all things considered. So I think that's kind of the approach I'm looking to take.
Great, thank you. And you're right about special needs people. I mean, I've seen this happen uh, uh, on a number of streets in the south side of town where folks, with motorized scooters are, dodging traffic, and it's very, very hazardous. So, but this right-of-way issue sounds like it could be a real impediment. So, I'm glad the mayor brought that up. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you, Joe. All right, let's go to Anne.
Thank you. Just a few quick updates. The Greenscape Committee is eagerly watching as things get underway at Ernest Memorial Park. The eagle sculpture has been moved to one side. Some holly trees have been planted. We are a little bit delayed in getting the full design installed, so not sure if it'll be done in time for the House and Garden Tour, but if not, it will be cleaned up. I did talk to Jim Renza recently, who organized the Memorial Day wreath laying last year. He and Stu Freeman would like to do it again, and I told him that the town would certainly support that and help provide the wreath and make sure the park is cleaned up. So I don't know if Alex or Matt have any news beyond when we talked last a few days ago.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, we don't want to promise anything, but I mean, we're trying to get the Ernest Memorial Project done as soon as we can. So,
Leslie maybe has a question about Ernest Memorial Park. Go ahead.
Well, I do, mainly because it is a designated stop on the tour, and it's a focus of a part of the pathway, and is going to be featured. So I don't know how
Well,
Yeah.
it is.
I brought that up with Kate DeWitt, and at worst case scenario, we will have a sign with the picture of how it's going to look, and it's just going to be a work in progress. That's about all we can do.
Okay.
And she
But
was,
it will be cleaned up looking nice. It just
Yeah.
won't have the full installation, and then we could have a visual schematic. Um,
And the only thing
Go
I'd
ahead.
mention, just because you brought up Jim Renza, if people didn't have a chance to read one of the most recent Kensington Neighbors magazine, he was the cover story. It is a wonderful story about Jim, his career as a Marine medic, the bond he has with a number of the folks throughout the former Marine cadre in Kensington. It is really a wonderful story.
Yeah, thank you for flagging that. I made everyone in my family read that story because it was so compelling. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew that. Maybe we can get that put up on the town calendar once we coordinate with Jim on a time for that Memorial Day wreath laying. Also, while we're on the subject of events, the 5th annual Juneteenth celebration will be Saturday, June 13th at St. Paul Park. It's the 5th year of our celebration. It coincides, of course, with the 250th anniversary. So I know that Jamie Boston and the planning committee are putting extra thought and care into the programming. There's an active committee of volunteers working on that. In fact, they're meeting tonight. They meet on Wednesday nights. So if anyone wants to get involved or wants more information, let me know. I will happily connect you with Jamie, but please put that on the calendars as well. And for Sustainable Kensington, Nate, I know the food waste canvassing and outreach hopefully is underway. Though I need to check in and see if folks have started. We got all the materials and support ready for that, but it'll be going on the next few weeks. Nate, you want to add anything?
Well, that was no, that was my only update was going to be to talk about that. But the only thing maybe to add is that it's going to, I think we gave a whole month for our Sustainable Kensington cadre of canvassers to go out and knock on doors, take a survey, introduce people to the bag liners, the tote that you can put on the counter. And then if they do the survey, they get entered into a contest to win one of the toters for the countertops. But really, the whole goal is to collect data to see what's working, what's not working, how we can improve to get our numbers up by June. So for those of you who are not familiar with it, and now you are becoming familiar with it because you're listening to this, just please answer your door. And if you're not there, take the survey. There'll be a QR code that'll link you there when people come to hear what you have to say. And feel free to engage us. We're armed with Q&As and fun facts and everything when we go door to door.
Well, thank you for the reminder. I just texted my daughter Samantha and told her composting night.
Yes. Every Wednesday we get to remind everyone too that it is compost night.
Compost night.
Or food waste night technically, but we will put it out if you haven't.
Yeah, no, I think that's great that you guys are doing it. I think that's the only way to increase more usage. I find it very easy, except for remembering Wednesday night. That's about the only problem I've had is remembering that. But otherwise, it's been so easy to participate. Okay. Anything else, Ann? Oh,
see, Joe has a question.
Joe.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Mayor. For Councilman Engel, I was just wondering if you could give us a sample or a sense of the survey that's going to be conducted door to door, which is impressive. So, what
I have the.
Is it lengthy? Is it just a couple questions?
I have them in the other room, but no, it's like 5 questions. It should take. I should have anticipated this question. You're a survey methodologist. I should have remembered. Yes, it's very quick. I mean, it's 5 or 6 questions. It should take 2 or 3 minutes, unless you want to engage the person at the door and talk with them a little bit more and have your own questions for them. It should be pretty quick. And you can also do it on your own time with the QR code.
Very good. Thank you. Did you say you're going to be giving away toter liners door to door?
No. Sorry, we'll be carrying the toter liners to show you just how easy it is, what to do with it, and actually maybe just doing a little demonstration because what you can do is you have the toters that Matt and Alex purchased. I think Ann's recommendation are really quite nice. Actually, it's better than the toter we have at our house that we kind of hide under the counter. But we would demonstrate how to use it, and then you just take it out and put that bag, which is a smaller compost bag, into the bigger compost bin. You don't have to shake it out or anything. You just bag it up, put it in, and then put the new bag into the countertop toter.
Right. It's very, very convenient. And
the
liners, though, they sort of get low in supply on those. So that's what I was asking. Thanks very much.
Yeah, sure. You can purchase them everywhere around here, basically. All the stores.
Carrying them.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, Ann, are you done? Okay, Nate, you want to continue on then?
I'm done. No, that was it for me. Thanks.
Okay, cool. Connor?
Yeah, I just wanted to flag 2 items are both with our other elected bodies. So one is a state. They just finished up their legislative session. Obviously, there's a number of bills. I'm only really wanted to highlight the housing bill that we have been tracking since the beginning of the session. That is the Starter and Silver Homes Act. It did not make it out of committee. This bill, as drafted, as reviewed by the committee, would have taken away quite a bit of municipal power around zoning that sits with the county, but what our oversight of residential properties within our jurisdictions are. We had been working with a number of other municipalities in the Montgomery County, Down County area to make suggestions and offer amendments to improve the bill, but it ultimately did not make it out of committee. It's not uncommon that this bill may come back again next cycle. So I think the appetite now is to try and work with the, state delegates, DHCA, other interested parties to help continuing to bubble up those amendments and the topics that cause a lot of consternation for municipalities and the counties, to try and see if there's a meaningful bill that everybody can help support for a future cycle. So as that bubbles up next, September, October, November, my hope is this cycle we will have a little bit more forewarning and understanding of the bills that will be introduced around housing, and we'll continue to keep the community engaged on it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think their biggest problem with that bill is they tried to throw every municipality into the same bucket, every county into the same bucket, and we're all different. And
Yes.
they do not take that into account at all. Whether, a county, especially down county in Montgomery County, how dense we already are. I mean, it's just, you can't put 6 townhouses, in a block on Frederick Avenue. I mean, it's just, there are issues with that, and they need to, they can't come at it like that they can solve the problem just by throwing everybody into the same bucket. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, to the mayor's point, I mean, there were some I thought, really well made points around, stormwater infrastructure, fire and safety infrastructure, school capacity, things that they hadn't thought about at the inception of this bill that they realized, oh, yeah, if you throw more housing and more density into these areas, there is a ripple effect, which is what the counties and our planning board here for Montgomery and Prince George's County, they work on this constantly. They look at it neighborhood by neighborhood, street by street. And the approach that this bill took was just a one size fits all everywhere in Maryland. And it ran into some real problems real quick. I mean, our R60s and townhouse zoned areas currently are very different than your R90s and R200s in other parts of the state. And so, there's large parts of even Western Montgomery County that aren't on water and sewer. And so, they just carved them out and left them out to the side. But there's, I think hearts were in the right place, but zoning is a very, very, very local issue. And I don't think they coordinated well enough with the local jurisdictions. So my guess is that we will see more coordination as people have become very activated around this topic.
Well, and the affordability issues, I don't think it's being addressed. Everybody's affordability is different in Montgomery County, up in Havre de Grace, places like that. So it's expensive down here. If you're going to build 4 townhouses and there actually do have a project on Connecticut Avenue for townhouses, which is what the county passed last year for in Chevy Chase. Mm-hmm. So it's because they wanted to take away the height restriction too, which is, yes, insane to have a 4-story townhouse next to a 2-story house in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yes.
So anyway, I think, they're going to go back and revisit, and I'm sure it'll be back in a different way, but I hope they do a little bit better job in reaching out to not just the municipalities, but all the counties as well. We're just not the same.
Yep. Another one, if you were here for the budget presentation, you'll have already heard this, but a shout out to our District 18 delegation, a special shout out to Delegate Emily Shetty. The mayor and I had worked with her on, just making sure there weren't other bond initiatives that had been put in place that were due to expire. She was able to identify one, and we were able to identify a current need because needs shift over time. We were able to identify $100,000 that is going to become available and be put into our CIP for improvements to Town Hall. So that will come about in the July timeframe. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I did talk to Jared on that same issue, Connor. He would like to schedule a meeting or schedule a time for the council and the mayor and District 18 to come together so they can present us with a fake check for the $800,000 for their.
If this check isn't like 6 feet long, like I've seen on TV.
I know. So think about that.
Yep.
I'll send out an email of if we can find a time that will accommodate the District 18. So
Terrific.
maybe in front of Unlimited Breads or something like that, or
the other one, looking at the county's budget is also currently being debated, reviewed by the county council. This is County Executive Mark Elrich's budget that he has proposed. The county council is now in review of it. I just flag it because there's a couple of tax-related things that I just want the community to know that we do not control these issues, but they need to be aware of it. We also don't know what will be approved by the council yet, but of them, the county executive has proposed an increase in the county's income tax rate from 3.2% to 3.3%. Town manager and the town clerk already informed us that if that were adopted, the additional revenues to the town of Kensington would be roughly $28,000. So this isn't like a windfall thing, but it is, in a time where inflation is rising and costs are increasing. This is an additional 0.1% increase in income tax rates. The county executive also proposed a 6.3% increase on the county's property tax rate, which, if you read different blogs or analysis, if you take that 6.3% and it happens to be coming about at your assessment increase, which we were just reassessed, last year, it feels like, or it would feel like, if adopted, a nearly 12% increase in property taxes. I mean, it's a significant increase. I don't want to downplay that. Yes, there's, the expenditure side, the county's got a number of things that it has to fund. But I bring it up to simply remind people that we just did our budget presentation. We are holding our property tax rate flat as we have the last, Matt, you can correct me, but I think about 8 years. So we have not proposed a tax increase. So if anything is adopted at the county council level, please know that that was the county council that increased property taxes and not the town council. And then finally, the one that I guess I will speak solely for myself gives me the greatest heartburn is the county executive proposed a strategic special taxing district for the entirety of the town of Kensington. And what gives me some consternation and heartburn is nobody within the county executive or his staff or administration reached out to the town to talk to us about why they were proposing this, what it would be for, how much it would be, how it would operate. What we've learned from reading the bill is the idea is that it would be established, again, if these were accepted by the county council, it would be established at 15 cents per $100 on commercial properties to generate funds to allow a bond to help support the Summit Avenue Extended project, which is in the county's CIP, as it has been for about 15 years. I'm not saying there's not merit and there's not worthiness to this. I'm a little frustrated that nobody within the county executive's office thought to reach out to the mayor or town manager to give us a heads up or discuss the possibility or discuss our support of it. It just got dropped into the bill, presented to the county council. And that was literally the first time we had heard about it. On that, the county president, Natalie Fanny Gonzalez, has already said, these special taxing districts are very complex. They're a multi-year thing that needs to be reviewed, studied, and analyzed. She has said publicly she is not have the appetite to bring these taxing districts about during the current review of the operational budget and the county's CIP budget. So for now, I don't believe the taxing districts are really moving forward, but it's been proposed. After the county budget is adopted, we may see this idea resurface and, will want to know more and engage more with our county council member, district member, Kate Stewart, as well as at-large members as we get closer to the fall.
Okay.
That is it.
Any questions for Connor? Al?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, just to add to what Connor said for the $100,000 windfall that the District 18 team was able to get. Also, just wanted to give a shout out to former town council member Bridget Hill Zayat and Jeff Griffith from Parkwood. They took time out of their lives in 2020 to travel to Annapolis and testify. And that's the reason why that money existed, and made it onto kind of like a expired, unclaimed freight list that was able to be repurposed to go for town hall renovations.
Thank you, Al.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anything else? I just have a couple little things. Just want to make sure everybody knows the county has announced, at least at this moment, that on Saturday, May 9th, there will be the groundbreaking of Noyes Library so please write that down. That's at 10 a.m. For the Noyes Library groundbreaking event, Saturday, May 9th. I want to just give a quick shout out to Kate Stewart's office and her staff, particularly Paul Ellis and Diana Carolla. We had a couple of issues and they took care of them right away. Particularly, we had a homeless family that was living in the bus shelter on Connecticut Avenue in front of Safeway. And I reached out to their office and they were able to send out DHHS, Department of Health and Human Services, who made connection with the family and were able to find to rehome them. As far as I know, they're no longer there. And so I want to thank her office for helping us with that. So I also think that's everything. The May-June journal, I'll be sending out an email soon with the due dates. So start thinking about anything you need to write about that. So I'll send that out tomorrow. Okay, for your articles. Let's see, anything else? I think that's everything on my list. Matt, since it's about 8:05, I'm going to go ahead and just move down because I know I haven't made 8 o'clock for a long time, but do public appearances. So if there's anything on the agenda that you would like to bring up, this is your opportunity to do it. Leslie?
Hi. So one feature on the town website that I like is the ability to report any kind of issue. But I'm wondering if there's a way to send an automatic response that has been received, because otherwise you just don't know. And background
Be
noise.
able to do that, don't you think? I would think we would be able to the technology to do that.
Well, I thought there should be, just, we received it, just a boilerplate, doesn't have to be specific, just generic, so that that would be helpful. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Leslie, do you remember what service request you put in? Because there's supposed to be an auto response. And then specifically, if it's related to a trash collection, a staff member will directly reach out.
Well, it wasn't that. One was just a reminder. I did 2 separate ones just in the last week. One was just a reminder about the lock repair at the dog park. And on the inside gate.
Yeah, Public Works looked at that and they couldn't find anything wrong with it. So
no, they got to, okay. It is not what it should be on the inside. The bar that goes into the catch should be a smooth bar, maybe with a little ball at the end. It's a whole part of the apparatus. And all they've done, or whoever, is just attached a screw in there. So it doesn't engage when you close you need 2 hands to lift up to get it's not working. And it's really just a part. It's a part on the gate itself that maybe needs to be repaired because it's got that bar that then catches into the catch-all on the post. So, you know,
Okay, well,
it's just a temporary fix. It's not
a fix.
a fix.
Okay. Well, we did get that message, but that doesn't solve your problem of getting a response. So,
Well, see, I wouldn't know whether you'd gotten
right.
it. That was all. And the other was actually it was just about a tree in my yard that has a substantial portion of it that has not leafed. So I wanted to just get it out there so it could be looked at and see what the health is.
Okay.
It's a golden rain.
Golden Rain.
Yeah.
Mayor, we'll check with our web team about the service request. There's supposed to be a response. We'll see what's going on. And then Leslie, can you email Alex directly about the Golden Rain tree, please?
Oh, about the tree?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
sure.
we'll have our contractor come out and look at it. So
Okay. All right, that's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. This question is motivated by the council's guidance from time to time to, if you see something, say something. And so with that in mind, I'm very curious as to why there was a truck or construction vehicle, why this was allowed to block the ADA spots at town hall parking on at least 3 occasions since the town hall renovation work was begun. I mean, you know, these are important spots, and even if they're not occupied all the time, they should be available for people who have special needs.
Well, sometimes spots have to be closed while you're doing repairs. They were doing demolition. Did you want them to park in the back?
You know, Mayor, I noticed that they were very careful not to block your spot
They
at
actually
town
did
hall.
block my spot the first day. I just got there before them the next day.
Yeah, the 3 times I went by there, they were very careful not to block your
Well,
spot.
it had nothing to do with me. They just,
Okay.
I got there before they did. The other thing, there are handicap spots out on the street too, so they're available.
Anyway, see something, say something, and it struck me as something that was not quite right. Also, I'm very curious as to why the town is giving publicity in its town happenings digital flyer to an upcoming event called Day of the Beer. Now, this is an event that seeks to promote sale and consumption of alcoholic beverages at a time when recent medical research has been reporting that even a small amount of alcohol consumption can have deleterious health effects. So why would the town be giving publicity to this kind of event, given the potential adverse health consequences that medical research has been reporting recently?
Well, we do it for St. Patrick's Day too. We promote all events in the town.
That
So
doesn't really answer my question. Is given the
the title you're objecting to?
no, I'm objecting to the town supporting, as I said very clearly, the town's giving publicity to an event that encourages the consumption and of alcoholic beverages. I mean, it flies in the face of recent medical research findings, and it's very concerning. There's some mythology about alcohol having positive health effects, but that does not seem to be a finding with recent medical research.
Okay, well, it is a legal activity for people over 21, so.
I'm aware of that too. I'm just curious as to why the town decides to give publicity to this kind of event.
Well, I'm glad that we do, Joe. This is an event that one of our businesses is putting
You're
on.
glad that the town does give publicity to that. I see.
Yes, to our town events. Yes, just like we do all other town events, right? We do it for the Day of the Book when the Day of the Book was occurring, for the car show.
Yeah, the Day of the Book is certainly a more intellectual, and there's
So,
no
Joe,
peddling of alcoholic
I'm
beverages.
getting
That's
that
my whole
you
point here. I'm not
understood.
saying we should not call
It
attention
is a
to other
town
town events.
business.
This is very focused on this just one event. I'm curious as to why the town is promoting it through its
Because a town business is putting on a public event and wants to get word out to the public about the event. We want to be supportive of our town businesses so that they are successful, because as you were at the budget hearing, they contribute to the town's budget. They provide jobs.
You know,
They provide.
you don't have to talk down to me on this kind of stuff. My
I'm
question
not
is a
talking
simple
down, Joe.
one.
You
Yes, it
asked me
is. The
why
town, I
you're
understand they
asking why
provide
we would
jobs and
support
stuff
it.
like that. It's a
Joe,
simple question as to
Joe.
why would the town encourage or give publicity to this kind of event? I mean,
So, Joe, I can continue answering why I am supportive of it. You don't have to like my answer, but these are the reasons I think we should be supporting. This is actually why I got onto the council in the first place nearly 10 years ago, was because of events that were occurring in town. And there were some voices that were saying, we shouldn't have the events. There's too many events. You know, we just want this quiet, sleepy little town. And I see it differently. We have a thriving
okay,
business
fair enough.
community.
All right. Okay, that's fine. We don't need to go into a long explanation of your time on town council.
Joe, you asked
It's
a
just a
question.
problem of
I'm providing you an
encouraging
answer
and giving publicity to events that promote the sale and consumption of alcoholic beverages. I mean, these other events that you've listed don't have that kind of focus. This one does. That's
We
problem.
have a car show. Cars spew exhaust. Do you want us to not support the car show?
Will you quit twisting my words here? I'm not even talking
I'm not
about the car
twisting your
show. I'm talking
words,
about
Al.
one
You
single event
asked
that's
me,
coming up that
and
the
I
town has been promoting.
understood. And I thought it would be worthy to give you a response, to provide a detailed response of why I'm supportive of these kind of events
Okay,
and why we
it.
should
I
give
get
it.
it. I understand. I hear you. But it has nothing to do with the town car show.
I'm giving you other examples, Joe.
Mayor, I'm done. Thanks.
Thank you. Al?
Thank you, Mayor. I just had a question, and I apologize that someone talked about this earlier, but I just wondered if there's any updates about opening dates for some of the businesses that are going to open soon, like Marathon Deli and Mezza Restaurant, and then the dispensary.
I believe the dispensary might be open. I think Darren sent a text to Connor and I that they were opening. Remember what he said?
Yeah, I did not see the official date on it. But
They
we
have
do have updates on some of the other ones, Al.
They have a banner. The dispensary has a banner on the side that says "Now Open." I saw it when I was pumping my gas.
Oh, wow.
Yesterday.
Okay. I didn't even know.
Yep.
The Marathon Deli, Connor and I were there last week and visited with them, and they have passed all of their permits. They have approvals on everything except fire and safety have to come in and do their final one. They hope to do it next week, but they are too nervous to give an exact date until they have those approvals. So it's like any minute. It's just more of they are ready to go. They're just waiting for those last two approvals, and that they have to be completely set up so they can come in. And I think we've signed off on an alcohol license at that location. So,
And Mezza?
And Mezza is, I don't think they're coming. We did find that out when we were visiting Marathon Deli. Apparently there's some, what would you call it? Court.
There's the property owner has brought a lawsuit against the LLC for a breach of their lease for not building out in the required time frame. And as these leases are worked out, right, there's when do they start paying the rent? The rent is due to build out. There's, so from what we understand from looking at the case and reading about it, there's a strong indication that Mezza will not be coming. But as that case proceeds, there's also not an ability for anything else to, backfill its space because they had begun a build out. There was some work done. You can kind of look through the windows. So that is now going to have to work its way through both the legal process and the unwinding process if Mezza does not move forward.
So that's the nail salon is working its way though, Al.
Mm-hmm. Hey, nice.
But I want to bring something up, Al, because and the mayor did a great job. But like when we walked through Marathon Deli, it is beautiful. It looks truly, it's a great space. They've got space for you to have like a group table, like if you wanted to have a whole family out there, or you got like the basketball team. They're going to have tables. They really are encouraging of the University of Maryland, right? Their other location in College Park, so there's memorabilia there. They'll show Maryland basketball and football and other sporting programs. But it is just a light and clean and fresh build out designs with what you would expect, very Mediterranean whites and blues. But it really is a nice space, and I think it'll make for a wonderful addition. And the mayor and I worked with Maria and George talking about what their plans are for some outdoor seating. So it's going to be a really welcome addition, and we're just weeks away. And as soon as he gives us the date, we will push it out to the public.
Well, good to hear. Maybe we'll have Day of the Gyro at some point.
And they're hiring, so they're still trying to get the staff pulled together. So if you got college coming home and or teenagers that are looking for some jobs, send them.
Do they have to be a certain age?
15 in the state of Maryland. 15,
even though in a place that sells alcohol.
They can't.
They can.
Think that's
right. So I'll be honest, I've got a 15-year-old as well. There are jobs where they just would not serve the alcohol, right? There's bussing of tables, there's running of food orders. It's a big family-run business as well. And George and Maria are very big about community. They want the employees to come from the community. So there are roles for both under 18 and over 18.
All right. I will let my 15-year-old know.
Hey, okay, great. All right. Any other questions for public appearances? Not seeing any hands, so we will move on down to town manager and staff.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to, we've talked about a lot this evening. We're probably going to talk about it again in the budget. We are finishing up the St. Paul Street storm drain project. This project installed a storm drain along St. Paul between University and McComas. It also increased the size of the inlets at the base of McComas Avenue. It added storm drain inlets to Decatur and the base of Madison. And the scope of the project allowed us to do intersection improvements at St. Paul and McComas, St. Paul, Decatur, the entire stretch of Madison, and the intersection of Decatur and University. And I will say, if you haven't had a chance to go up and take a look at the improvements, please do so. This is really probably the nicest project the town has ever done. I mean, it really stands out. And the mayor and council should be incredibly proud of themselves for sticking to the ARPA funds to green infrastructure, because we solved a serious problem and were able to make some aesthetic improvements. The ARPA funds also included the Hadley Place storm drain bypass, which was completed earlier this year. And I also want to thank Town Attorney Sue Ellen Ferguson. Her and I started working on this almost 6 years ago. We had the severe rain in September of 2020. I called Sue Ellen and I said, we got to figure out how to put an RFP to get this addressed by the engineering team. And Sue Ellen and I, it took a long time, but we got an RFP out. We got an engineering team. They put together a plan, and we actually built 2 projects in that time. And we spent $2.4 million on infrastructure in this town. So mayor, council, and prior council members, you should be very proud of yourselves. We did something very good for this town. So
yeah, it really does look great. And I mean, who could think you could be happy about a sewer, but it really does look very nice. So and I know the people up on the dorsal fin on the north side really appreciated it, and they are enjoying their sidewalks. So yeah, so it's great.
Also, number 2 on those, we have almost completed our street name sign inventory switch out. The last remaining signs are on Connecticut Avenue. They should be completed by the end of the month. If you read your journal, we will be making the old street name signs available through a lottery. We are requesting $25 per sign, similar to the bench lottery that we did, I believe it was 2 years ago, and the funds will be donated to the Hunger Ministry. If you have any questions, please email Alex. I know we received one question. You're not getting both signs. You're not getting both signs on the pole. You're getting one sign, we're asking you to put in the lottery the request for a specific street. If you want multiple streets, we're asking that you go into the lottery for the specific streets. So obviously, we're concerned that we'll have more interest than signs available. So,
Matt, I have a quick question. I've been meaning to ask you. You just mentioned Connecticut Avenue were the only street signs still to be replaced. There's one on the Summit sign on Summit and Prospect is oddly not completely replaced. And I understand maybe it's because it's the county, but its Summit is just in the old green. It still needs one.
it's probably on phase 10, and I'm just not remembering, but if not, we'll get it switched out. So,
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
And we're not washing them before you get them. That's your job. There's a little bit of green on some of them, so you'll have to give it a little scrub. All right, are we ready for ordinance resolutions and regulations? Yeah, go ahead.
I
David.
had one last question. I know you guys were talking about it when I jumped on the call pre budget forum. But Matt, can you give, just for like a public service announcement, just for the residents who are going to be affected by this, the timeline for the water line replacement? Because people have been asking questions to me on Baltimore Street and around the Pitchfork about the timing and what the markings are, because people are walking around their yards and everything, just so that people are aware.
Yeah, so we're receiving a lot of calls for this as well. Every resident should have received a door hanger, but obviously, somebody could have misplaced it or something. There's survey teams going around town, everywhere south of the railroad crossing. So it doesn't matter if you're on the east side or the west side of Connecticut, but south of the railroad crossing. WSSC has a survey crew out. They are surveying the right of way for the existing water line. They are planning to take about 18 to 24 months to put together the engineering plan. The project will replace 4 miles worth of water main within the town. It's the entire system of the street. It's every street on the south side of town will be affected by this. So every main line. There's no lateral replacements proposed. It's just the main line down the center. Well, for the most part, in the center of the road in most places. So engineering is going to take about 18 to 24 months. Then they'll put together a contract plan where they will actually go up, rip up the main line, and reinstall it. There is a requirement for them to pave curb to curb. Every street in the town will be repaved curb to curb after it. It will be done in phases. It's not every street at one time. There will be a phased process. You may have seen they've been doing this over in Parkwood.
And Eastview as well.
Yeah, so this is probably a 4+ year project for WSSC. So
on the Parkwood Civic Association, there's a really cute video on this project, on their project when they change this out. Everybody should watch it. So we'll get the link for that, because so we disappeared. What happened to us? Where are we? And they kind of explain, how they kind of go away and then they come back. They haven't forgotten. So, I mean, it's, people are going to have a lot of patience. They just are, but these pipes are from the 30s and they need to be replaced. And it's going to be a long project.
Yeah, so you said, Matt, 2 years for the engineering and then another 2 years for construction. So 4 total.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we did run an article in the journal, if you saw a lot of these guys, going around and surveying, that's what they're doing. But we didn't really have much information. And I know everybody likes to have a date. And there is going to be, too far in the future to give that. But it's so, Al?
Sorry, Al, real quick before you jump in, just is the north side contemplated at some point, Matt, after the south side's done? Are we looking at 2030 for the north side replacement? Or
we don't know. Alex and I have noticed. I mentioned during the budget forum, WCC has survey crews on the north side. They're putting as-built numbers down on our storm drains. I don't know if they're just doing that for their records, but there's been no indication from WSSC that the north side is going to be completed, at least within the next couple of years. So,
okay, great, thanks. Sorry, Al.
Yeah, no problem. So you said everything's south of the tracks. So just reconfirming, does that include Kensington Parkway?
That's what we were told. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I guess since they're going to repave everything, I guess good time to think if there's any anything contemplated in terms of changes of the geometry of the road, good time to think about it. So.
Okay, ordinance, resolutions, and regulations. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. Before you this evening is a public hearing for ordinance number O-01-2026, which is an ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Kensington to appropriate and adopt the fiscal year FY27 budget and to levy a tax on certain real and personal property of the tax article of the annotated code of Maryland. If you joined us prior to the council meeting, we held a budget forum. This is the formal hearing. I'll provide a very brief overview of the budget, and then if you have any questions, just please let me know. Within the public document that we sent out, and it should be on our website, can't see it from the blur, but it's the budget letter. It's pretty detailed on what we're proposing for FY27. There's not many changes for this year. There's no service changes. There's no requests for that. Really, the only main changes is that we're requesting the mayor and council to reclassify a part-time administrative position to full-time. We are requesting the reclassification of a public works position, which was previously facilities maintenance, which was now vacant. Jamie Sims retired from the town last year. We would like to reclassify that to either public works 1 or 2 and hire a full-time employee to join the crew. A couple of other highlights on the budget is, as many of you know, Ali Sola Soleil is retiring as the director of Day of the Book. We have been in communications with her to possibly absorb the event for next year, so possibly April 2027. We did fund under municipal events or requesting funds up to $30,000 for that event or a similar event. In that case, there are some funds that we're requesting under professional services. Councilmember Lichter and Councilmember Sparker discussed earlier this evening the parking analysis that we're doing. That will be paid for over 2 fiscal years. They're billing us monthly, so there's some additional funding in that. Also in professional services, there's some funds in there specifically for the Development Review Board. We're looking to start a 2026 Kensington sector plan later in the calendar year in case we need any consulting services for that. Otherwise, not too many changes. We're requesting that real property and personal property tax rates remain the same for the 8th consecutive year. Our revenues are pretty strong. We're happy with them. Susan and I are confident in our income that we've actually increased that by $100,000. And as we tell you all the time, the income, we are very conservative in our estimates. Things can change very quickly on income, but they've been pretty solid the last 4 fiscal years, and FY26, which is our current year, is only the second time in our history that we've exceeded $1 million, and we're actually going to exceed over $1.1 million in income receipts within the town. Otherwise, we are looking for very strong allocations to our CIP to continue many of our public works projects, specifically the new public works building, infrastructure related to storm drains. We need to put some funding back in the town hall after our current office project. We're requesting some funds for some, I'm referring to as utility upgrades for EV chargers for a new public parking lot, and basically just to maintain our services within operating and fund future projects within the CIP. I know there's been a lot of discussions about sidewalks this evening. It's something that I think the town has been aggressive about in the last few years, adding sidewalks and maintaining sidewalks, and we're requesting funds to continue that going forward. Other than that, if the council has any questions, or if the public.
Sorry. Go
Al?
ahead, Al. You can go first this time. Sorry.
Al?
Okay, so this is a public hearing.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, so my testimony, my comment on the budget is there is one thing that is a change from previous years, and that is the street lighting. So in the budget for fiscal year 2027, it has $48,000 for street lighting. In the previous year, the current year, that was like $65,000. So the reason for the decrease is that the town has gone along with Pepco's
Al, do you mind if
proposal.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to clarify. There's been no decision made. Um,
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
can I just
Yeah.
finish my testimony and then you can comment on it when I'm done?
Well, I don't, I don't want to interrupt, but I don't want you to
All
say
right. Well,
that
you
no
don't know what I'm going to
decision was
say,
made.
so just
Well,
let me say my piece. It's a public
I read
hearing.
your email, so I do know what you're going to say.
No, you don't.
Again, I'm not trying
Please
to
don't
interrupt.
interrupt me. It's a public hearing. Just
All right.
let me say my piece,
No, go ahead, Al.
and then you can have
Go ahead.
the mic after me. So anyway, my assumption is this is anticipating of giving up all of the streetlights on the state roads, Connecticut Avenue, University, Knowles Avenue, Metropolitan to State Highway. This is an idea that's been pushed by Pepco. Uh, you know, uh, there's about 300 streetlights in the town on the wood poles. Those streetlights are owned by Pepco, and they're maintained by Pepco, but the town pays for those. We pay for the electricity, we pay for the maintenance. When the bulb burns out, they send a truck out to change the bulb. We pay for that as a service. And for many decades, the town has been responsible for all of the lights in the town, the ones on the local roads, the one on the state roads. There is a document from 1994 when Jack Jones was mayor. He did a whole inventory. I think he hired like a retired Pepco guy, and he did a whole inventory of all the lights in the town. So the town, since 1994 and probably since forever, had always been paying for all the lights. Meanwhile, these lights that Pepco owns, they're obsolete. They're like 1960s, 1970s technology. They require frequent maintenance. They burn out. They waste a lot of energy. This is probably the town's biggest energy expense. And Pepco has neglected them. They don't. There was issues with slow repairs. Pepco sends the town an invoice every month. It's inaccurate. It's been inaccurate for years. It's still inaccurate. If you want to report a streetlight that is burned out, Pepco has a website. They have a map where you can go on and click on the light and tell them that it's out. That map is inaccurate. It has a lot of lights that are on the wrong street. It has lights that were removed years ago that still show up on the maps, and there are lights that do exist that don't show up on the map. So Pepco is under a order from the Public Service Commission. They had to come up with a corrective action plan, and they have to issue quarterly reports to correct all these problems. And they went and they've gone and done surveys to figure out where all the streetlights are so that they can update their records. And they came up with this idea is for the lights that are on the state roads, that's going to belong to state highway. No one asked for that. But that idea is what Pepco has been pushing, and Pepco cut the town a check. Say, oh, you've been overbilled. All these lights on Connecticut and University, those aren't your lights. Those are state highways lights. So you've been overpaying. So we're going to cut you a check. So they paid us off. And if we go along with this plan, I think it's a mistake. I think it hurts safety, because I don't think state highway is equipped to manage these lights. And it's not just a money issue. This is life and death. Just to give you an example, one of the lights where the records was wrong is on University Boulevard at St. Paul Street. So on Pepco's records, they were showing that there was a light there right near the crosswalk. This is the location where a couple people were hit in 2020, critically injured. And then in 2025, when a young man, a high school student, was hit and died. So Pepco's records were wrong. They were showing there was a light there. There was no light there. Had Pepco done a better job, of having good records, perhaps that would have been corrected much sooner, and there would have been less of a safety problem there. So, so my point is, I think it is a mistake for the town to give up responsibility for those lights and to give those over to State Highway. I think that will make us all less safe. I think that the way to get the cost of the lights down is to convert them to LED, so they're energy efficient, they're durable, they provide better lighting, and to acquire them actually from Pepco. That is what the best practice is, and that is something that should be pursued. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Does anybody else want to speak for the hearing? Or Connor, you want to address
No,
that?
I just want to make sure you saw Sue Ellen's hand is up.
Oh, I did not see. Sue Ellen?
Thank you. I wanted to correct the record for a moment. I have been representing 6 municipalities with respect to streetlight issues, and a number of others too that aren't part of that team, and have been very much involved with municipalities in terms of who takes responsibility for which lights. And there are any number of municipalities in Prince George's and in Montgomery counties who didn't want to take on state right-of-way lights and have taken that position. So Pepco's position has been, as far as I know from the negotiations, that, and what I've heard from them is they don't particularly care who takes responsibility for it. They just want to make sure somebody does. And so it's, as far as I have seen, there is no conspiracy or thought by Pepco to force municipalities to or to give up or to take the responsibility for the streetlights that are in the state rights of way.
Well, Pepco benefits because,
I'm just showing.
If State Highway is responsible, State Highway is not going to hold them accountable. It's not going to appear at the Public Service Commission. Those lights are much less likely to be converted to LED. The state doesn't have the right to acquire those lights the way municipalities do. You haven't seen the correspondence between Garrett Park and State Highway, where State Highway relentlessly pushed this idea that the lights on Strathmore belonged to Garrett Park, and Garrett Park kept saying, no, 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 those are ours. Those are not state highways. And it's like State Highway was instructed to push this idea. That's my perception from seeing correspondence from some of the other municipalities.
Okay, Anne?
Yes, thank you. Matt, could you just address your earlier, you started to say that no decision has been made and sort of explain what is reflected in the budget?
Yeah, thank you. I'd like the opportunity to clarify. No decision's been made. We have been approached by Pepco about the plan that Al had mentioned and Town Attorney Ferguson has stated. No decision has been made. We have not even communicated with State Highway Administration. You've given no indication. The reason for the drop from 65,000 to 48 is that it was 48,000 for a number of fiscal years. We're not reaching even $48,000 in expenses on our current 300 streetlights, or it's just under. So we dropped it down because it was silly to keep it 65,000. I wanted to clarify that. No decision's been made.
Okay. Stuart?
I just want to make sure nobody else has comments on this topic because I want to switch gears on a couple other budget topics.
Your comments on the
the only other comment I would say is that I would expect that we would have a council conversation about this if a decision is to be made. That's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
Great.
Not
Thank you. That's all. Yeah, I think that's fine. Thanks, Matt, for clarifying.
Or is Joe? Okay, I don't know where he went. Go ahead, Stuart.
No, I have nothing to say on the lighting.
Okay. Stuart?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Matt. Just a couple questions on the budget while the public is here. I noticed in the budget that we talked about potentially hiring another code enforcement officer. And I just wanted to see if you had a thought on what that pay rate would be. If that would be like a part-time position or like an as-needed position, or is that something that you're thinking about doing for another full-time position?
So I don't I know there was a discussion within the parking management task force about hiring a second code enforcement officer. There's no request from town staff to fund this
Okay.
for this current year. There is a fourth secondary enforcement Montgomery County police officer that has been funded for the last, I believe, 2 or 3 fiscal years. We are asking for continued funding for that position. But there's no request for an actual code enforcement officer, part-time or full-time.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for clarifying. And the other question I had was on the day of the book festival, $30,000 is significant, and I understand that the residents like it. It's probably a draw to the businesses. Do you have like any kind of, or did the woman's name is escaping me at the moment?
It's
Ellie.
Ellie.
Yeah, thank you,
Ellie's
Ellie. Did Ellie like have like a projection of what that grow to continue this event
Yeah. So
by
Mayor
producing it
Furman
ourselves?
has reached out to Ellie and asked to sit down with the town staff to get a better idea of costs for the event. The only cost that that I can confirm is that the town was paying for all the tents. It's $10,000 for the tents. What there was a very brief conversation, I believe, 2 council meetings ago, where Mayor Furman brought up that Ellie was retiring as the director. We put this in the budget as a municipal event, with the idea that we might absorb it, potentially even hire someone to help run the event. Um, Obviously, the funding request is unknown at this point, other than what the tents are. It doesn't mean you have to spend the money. It doesn't mean you have to fund the event. It's something we can, have further conversations with. And if it's not something that the council is comfortable with moving forward with, we don't proceed. The request is in there if we decide to proceed. Um, Mayor, I don't know if we can meet with Ellie before the proposed adoption and get some better numbers from Ellie, that maybe we can kind of clarify this with the council.
Yeah, we probably could, but part of it was actually hiring somebody to run the book festival. Ellie, of course, did not. It was her, an event that she did on behalf of the town, but it was her event for the bookstore, and we benefited from it for getting thousands of, what did she say, 10,000 people, into the town. I know businesses benefited from that. When you have 10,000 people on the street, you don't benefit, there's something wrong with your business. But but part of that expense was not just the tents, but also providing maybe 1 or 2 people to run the event for us. Staff can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, understood. Okay, that's great. Thanks for further explanation on that. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Stuart, sorry, can I ask a question about this? Because I was a little confused because I thought it was just a swap. It's being decreased at the amount of almost 30,000 from one line and then added back in another line, right? It's not like a new cost for us.
It technically is. So within our economic development budget, we were allocating we allocated $10,000 to the Day of Book Festival, which basically covered the tents for Ellie. What we did is we removed $10,000 from economic development, and we moved the event down to municipal events. It's very similar to what we did to the Juneteenth event, I believe, 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years
I'm
ago.
glad you clarified
Yeah.
because the report says 31,000 decrease, which is mostly due to the Day of the Book. It's actually not mostly due to the Day of Book.
From economic development decrease. The economic development decrease, if you can clarify for me, there's a lot of numbers I'm remembering.
No, I don't expect you to memorize, but it's just
so specifically.
That's why I thought it was a swap, because I didn't realize we only spent not only.
Yeah, it wasn't perfect.
10,000.
Economic development did. I believe it saw a decrease. We did drop. There was a noise children's library donation within the current fiscal year of $25,000. We are requesting an additional $10,000 for FY27. That would be a total donation over the course of the project of 125,000. So there was a decrease of 15,000 there, and then the removal of Day of the Book from economic development was 10,000. I think we removed one of the either the spring or the fall mailer. I believe we removed.
I think we're just doing one mailer.
Okay, just one mailer, remove that.
Yeah.
And then we increased funds on the municipal event side, which clearly saw an increase of 30,000 and I think a slightly more because I think we added some funds to a couple other events too. So
You're good, Nate? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that helps.
Okay, great. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just have a few topics to ask about. One is that my calculations on the salary and wages lines from this year and last year indicate something like a 12% increase in that line item. I was wondering if the town manager might elaborate as to what accounts for such an increase. I know he's mentioned reclassifying employees and so forth, but a 12% increase over last year seems to be pretty stiff.
I don't know what the 12% is. There's a 2.7% COLA increase across the board. That is our standard policy. We follow the 12-month CPI from January 2025 to January 2026. So we're requesting 2.7%. There's a market rate correction of an additional 1.3% for our public works employees and our code enforcement officer and couple positions within general government, if I remember correctly. It shouldn't be 12%. I'd be happy to clarify that number for you.
Because I think I looked at
what I'm looking at is the salary and wages line item for fiscal 27 is 721,000, whereas the year before it was 643,000. This is salary and wages under personnel services. That comes to, I think, a 12% increase.
So
Could you
Matt,
clarify that? Yeah, I don't know if that's an
if you
incorrect
look
error.
at it, no, if you look at it, I'm wondering if it is due to the reclassification of positions. And those reclassifications, do they come at a higher salary level?
Well, they do. I mean, that would make sense. So obviously, a part-time administrative position is a much lower salary than a full-time assistant to the town manager position. So that would be the bulk of any increase. So if you're looking at it that way, yeah, 12% is possible, but there's no 12% increase to any specific employee or position.
No, I think it's the line item has gone up by 12. I looked at similar math to Dr. Campbell, and I think it's because as you reclassified the part-time to full-time and you reclassified one of the public works positions, those reclassifications they increase the salaries, which increase that line item. And so the line item has increased 12%. But to your point, direct pay is a 2.9% COLA and a 1.1% market adjustment.
2.7%, yeah.
Yeah.
The town has 14 employees, I think you said earlier. We're not adding to that total number? And this is
No,
a number that excludes the town attorney and the building inspector, you said.
So the FY27 budget is proposing to upgrade a vacant part-time position to full-time.
Okay.
And a vacant public works position and hire someone, which would technically bring the total employee count, assuming both positions are filled, to 16.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you. Are there any plans to devote increased funds for traffic enforcement in town? I ask this because there's essentially no enforcement these days of the town's left turn restrictions on the south side, Kensington Parkway at Kent Street, Frederick Avenue at Kent, Frederick Avenue at Wake. I mean, drivers, I've brought this up in the past, but it's really gotten to a point where drivers blindly disregard the left turn restriction signage, and it's become pretty flagrant. And I was really astonished. I spent some time on Kent Street not long ago and surprised at rush hour by the steady stream of cars turning left onto Kent from Kensington Parkway. And as I say, I raised this question in the council before. If the restrictions are not going to be enforced, then why even have the restrictions at all? I mean, clearly signage is just an inadequate way to enforce these restrictions. So are there any plans to increase funds for traffic enforcement in the town, in the budget?
So traffic enforcement has to be done through a Montgomery County police officer. We do have the secondary enforcement agreement with MCP. We have 3 police officers. They each cover 3 shifts a week of 3 hours, so that's 9 hours each. There is funding for a fourth secondary enforcement position that would be up to the council to continue to fund, and then direction from the mayor and council to hire a fourth officer. With regards to enforcement specifically, we can talk to the officers, we can move them around, ask them to monitor different intersections. I'd be happy to talk with Councilmember Sparker and the MTC about different locations that we can move our officers. So
Yeah, I'd be happy to offer input too, because it's really gotten to a pretty flagrant disregard of those signage restrictions. And finally, I note that $12,000 is again proposed for street sweeping. That's an amount identical to last year's budget item. The town last year budgeted 12,000 for street sweeping, but that, at least is my understanding, it wasn't done. It wasn't completed. And why wasn't it done? And will it be? Do you have a firm commitment that it will be done this year?
I can confirm that there will be a street sweeping later this spring. I don't have a date. We have been in contact with the contractor.
Good. Why wasn't it done last year?
I think the crew did quite a bit of it on their own using our equipment, which is more difficult than what the sweeper, but they wanted to try to do it themselves, and they did.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of streets that are really in need of attention, and they're gritty, dirty. The county cleans its streets. I mean, they recently reported that they plan to do 41,000 lane miles of residential roadways starting this month, and last year they collected nearly 750 tons of debris from county streets. So it's being done, and there's a need for it, and there's certainly a need on many streets here in Kensington.
Hey, Matt, just a nuanced question to that request. The spring street cleaning that you alluded to, that you are talking with the vendor, that is to be completed prior to July 1 in the current FY26 budget, or is that to be after July 1 with this proposed budget?
It would be in the current fiscal year, so FY26. It will probably be completed in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Again, we haven't confirmed a time or a week. So, yeah.
Do these street sweepings typically take place around the time of the Labor Day parade? Isn't that in advance? Isn't that when you more or less plan these things?
That
So
or
we have fun.
after the pollen is dropped.
So we have, yeah, as the mayor noted, so we have enough funds in the budget for 2 street sweepings a year. We typically do one in the spring after the trees have bloomed, and then we try to do a street sweeping just prior to the Labor Day parade.
Good.
Anything else? Guess not. Al?
Second bite at the apple. So, yeah, I guess a question is, under like the mayor and council compensation, is the compensation for council members still $2,500 a year?
It
That
is
not
the mayor's $12,000 a year, and council members are $3,000 a year. This was increased, I believe, under Mayor Fosselman.
Yeah, that was the last time, so that's why I'm questioning it. I mean, it's not changed.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, when I was on the council in 2002, it was $2,500 a year. So I would just say that the council compensation has not kept up with inflation. I know you all spend a lot of hours on this stuff. So you're probably in violation of minimum wage laws Yeah, maybe it's time to bump up some of the salaries a little bit. And then I think one of the benefits of that is, non-wealthy people, who want to invest their time in running for office can consider serving.
Okay. Thank you, Al. Anybody else regarding the budget? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. So we would need a motion to keep the budget open until I think May 8th. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what it says on the agenda.
The hearing. I do have a question. We would be meeting that following Wednesday. Sorry, all my papers fell. Is
The
everything
13th.
available on the, not that we can't still close it on the 8th, but I just want to check. Sometimes I get surprised. Is everybody around on May 13th for the next meeting? Want to make sure? Yes?
Yep.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
I would like to get a motion to continue the hearing through May 8th at 4:00.
I can do it. I move to keep the public hearing
Public.
open for the FY27 Town of Kensington budget until May 8th at 4:00.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, if we could just, and Matt, I know you're tracking this, but for the record, also just request that the ordinance and or the proposed budget be updated with the corrections that were identified in the budget hearing and be posted as soon as possible.
Yeah, we will be making a number of housekeeping and amendments. And what we've done in prior years is that we've actually written out the amendments that we're requesting of the council. Specifically, we'll need to, the most obvious one is add the $100,000 grant from the state legislature. And then any other changes that the mayor and council ask of us prior to adoption.
Terrific.
Which,
Thank you.
and we'll get clarification from Ellie on costs associated with the date of the book.
Okay. All right, well then let's move down to resolutions.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number R-06-2026 is a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Kensington authorizing a contract with Mulherron Tree Experts Incorporated for soil care, fertilization, and tree pest management for certain trees within the town parks and the public right-of-way in the amount not to exceed $18,750. For clarification, we previously used Bartlett Tree Services for all of our fertilization. I believe it was a year or two ago. The prices just became outrageous. And we reached out to a couple other contractors. Mulherron Tree, who's actually our tree pruning contractor, provided us with a very reasonable proposal. This would be, Alex, you'll have to correct me, the second or the third year of this contract, second year of this contract with Mulherron.
Okay. Council, any questions? Any questions in the audience? I'm not seeing anything. Can I get a motion?
Sorry, Mayor. I have one question. Apologies, I'm just getting through the thing. I see at the bottom of their proposal it's got a 3% fee for processing payments via MasterCard and Visa. We wire that money, right?
No, we sent them a hard check.
Oh, even better. All right, so there's no extra fee on top of that for using that.
No.
Fantastic, thank you.
They drop it off too. They're right there on Metropolitan next to the.
Indeed. Great, thanks.
Okay, so could I get a motion?
Sure, I move that we adopt resolution number R-06-2026.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. All right, resolution number 3.
Thank you, Council. Resolution number R-07-2026 is a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Kensington authorizing a contract with Shore Landscaping for landscape maintenance services at Clump Kennedy Park. This is, I believe, the 5th or 6th year with Shore Landscaping on this contract. There is an existing maintenance contract with Shore for the park. I would like to request, and Town Attorney Ferguson, if I get this language incorrectly, let me know. If we could just amend the resolution following review of the town attorney. She just wants to basically bring the existing contract forward with Shorb.
That's correct.
So you want us to approve it, but Sue Ellen's going to still look at it. Is that what I'm hearing before you?
Upon review and by the town attorney.
Okay. So just add that to the, okay. Anybody have any questions about that? I'll just say one thing. Ever since we've had Shorb take over Clum Kennedy, not the grass, not the leafing or anything, just the gardens, I don't get the kickback from the greenscape people anymore about things being cut wrong from our town crew, because there are certain things that need to be cut special ways, and Shorb does a very good job of doing that. So, and I think it's relieved the town crew from having to, to take care of it. So I think it's been a good decision.
Hey, Matt, real quick. Sorry, I have a million questions. I apologize to everybody for dominating the conversation. Just for my own, I'm brand new. How often do we recompete these contracts? Like, are they on the same timeline? Like, so like when we go with Mulherron and Shore, they're like the same time, or are they on alternate years? I'm just trying to get a sense of like, are
So
we
Alex,
gonna?
as Alex informed, so this is the second year with Mulherron for this one. So we do evaluate them every few years. Mulherron's,
Okay,
excuse me, Shore's been with us as the original contractor. They are the ones that made the improvements following the Greenscape recommendations. So I believe we're 5, 6 years into the initial contract, I believe. Um, I will
okay,
say,
cool.
I mean, just for clarity, Shorb's contract is $10,500. The reason why it's before the council this evening is the administrative limit is 10,000. If this contract was $501 less, it would have been approved administrative.
I don't know if this belongs then in with this resolution, but can we on a future agenda bring up the administrative level and whether or not raising it is merited given, I mean, $10,000, Matt, I trust you and administrative staff to approve a contract at that level. I think we can discuss at a future date what a higher but yet still reasonable level is. But I think you bring up a good point that it may be time to, as Al brought up, salaries on the council. I think it's also time that the council look at increasing the administrative approval level for town management.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. I mean, part of the reason for increases is the county has, increased the hourly rate for people. So, but I don't have any problem with, shopping around for other people every few years. So for new.
Yeah, I like that we're using local companies. I like that we're using Kensington companies. I think it's important that the town supports those local businesses, and I think I support Councilmember Scrimmon's proposal to bring it up in the next meeting. I was just trying to see, like, is this something we're gonna have to do every couple of years or every 3 years or 4 years, just so I kind of have a sense of that. So thanks.
Well, unfortunately, when you create gardens, especially ones that need to be tended, it does cost more money. So
Yeah, and we have one on my side of town here soon coming in mine. So
yeah.
that's exciting too.
Yeah, well, I think Clem is our biggest garden, so we're going to try to make them all, but hopefully there'll be more. They can kind of take themselves, but they'll still need it. Well, so okay, so could I see? Ask council. I don't see any hands for audience, so could I get a motion?
Yeah, sure. I move to adopt resolution R-07-2026 to award a contract for shore landscaping maintenance services to Plum Kennedy Park, subject to review and approval by the town attorney.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we've already confirmed that everybody can be at the next meeting on May 13th. I will send out, I'll talk to District 18 and get some dates for the $100,000 from the state. And I'll send the journal deadlines to you as well. All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I feel like
move to
Anna's been
adjourn.
waiting to do
Oh,
a motion all night, and we've all talked over.
Go for it.
I was going to say, all right, I move that we adjourn this evening's meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Good
Thank
night.
you very much.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone. See you
Matt,
guys.
for all the hard work you put into getting.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Thanks for
Thanks.
everyone
Thank
joining.
you for the forum.
Thanks, Alex.
You.